You don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable.
Once upon a time, Disney set out to reimagine a beloved classic, but instead of a magical fairy tale revival, what they unleashed was a cultural firestorm. Their bold new Snow White remake didn't just fail at the box office. It ignited one of the most controversial Hollywood disasters in recent memory. At the heart of the storm was actress Rachel Zegler, a young rising star who quickly became one of the most polarizing faces in the entertainment industry. What started as a promising career-defining role quickly unraveled into public boycotts, scathing headlines, and a legacy-shattering blow for Disney.
Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of happy.
This wasn't just a film that flopped. This was a franchise imploding in real time. And it all started with a few interviews, a few tweets, and a massive misunderstanding of what fans actually wanted. When Rachel Zegler was cast as Snow White, the announcement was met with cautious optimism. Fresh off her breakout role in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, Zegler was young, talented, and had the kind of voice that felt tailor-made for a Disney princess. The decision to cast a Latina actress in such an iconic role was seen by many as a step toward inclusivity and modern representation.
Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather, she deserves to be in a padded cell.
But from the beginning, the casting stirred whispers. Snow White, a character literally named for skin white as snow, was being reimagined in a way that defied the original story. Disney knew this would raise questions, but they leaned in. They wanted to prove that fairy tales could evolve. What they didn't expect was that the biggest controversy wouldn't come from the casting at all. It would come from Zegler herself. As press for the film began, Zegler's interviews quickly went viral, but not for the reasons Disney hoped. Instead of expressing excitement for honoring a timeless story, she made it clear she had no love for the 1937 classic. She called the original film weird, mocked the prince as a stalker, and dismissed the central love story as outdated nonsense. She's not going to be saved by the prince, Zegler said, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Oh my God.
For millions of Disney fans, this wasn't refreshing. It was insulting. The message came through loud and clear. The original Snow White wasn't just old, it was wrong. And if you still loved it, you were part of the problem. Suddenly, the film stopped being about a magical reimagining. It became a lecture, and fans weren't interested in being schooled. Then things got even messier. Old social media posts from Zegler resurfaced, showing her attacking political opponents with sharp, often aggressive language. Among them were comments like, "F Donald Trump," and even a tweet wishing that his supporters would never know peace. Even people who didn't support Trump found the tone extreme.
So she came out and took a large dump on half of the country, everyone who voted for Trump.
President Rachel Zegler also posted, F Trump kinds of posts on social media. She also said that she hoped that Trump supporters, quote, never know peace.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now. I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one.
Zegler wasn't just opinionated. She was seen as combative and dismissive of an entire segment of the audience. For Disney, a brand built on mass appeal and family-friendly storytelling, this was a PR nightmare. Boycotts were organized. YouTube was flooded with reaction videos. Parents said they wouldn't take their kids to see a movie whose star mocked their values. Overnight, the film became a political lightning rod, and Zegler became the unlikely face of a growing culture war. Behind the scenes, Disney had been pitching the film as a bold reinvention of the original. The romance, gone, the prince, reduced to a cameo, the songs, completely rewritten. Instead of retelling the beloved story with care, Disney gutted the heart of it. Zegler openly bragged about cutting "Someday My Prince Will Come" and replacing it with a modern, vague feminist anthem about letting your echo out. Fans didn't mind a strong princess. They loved characters like Moana and Elsa, but those stories respected the emotional core of Disney's legacy. Snow White didn't. It tore it out, stomped on it, and replaced it with a sermon. Every new reveal made it worse. The new music was slammed as preachy. The story lacked warmth. Even the evil queen's iconic jealousy arc was removed, replaced with a generic power grab plot that critics called dull and lifeless. The result? A movie with no soul, and no fans left willing to defend it. Then came the controversy that pushed many over the edge, the erasure of the Seven Dwarfs. In a podcast interview, Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage blasted the original portrayal of the dwarfs as backward. Almost immediately, Disney responded by removing the characters altogether. Instead, they planned to replace them with a group of diverse, magical creatures, but the move backfired. Badly. Little person actors, who had long hoped for roles like these, were furious. Many spoke out, saying they lost once-in-a-lifetime opportunities because of a corporate decision made to appear politically correct. And audiences? They were confused. The dwarfs weren't just side characters, they were central to the story's charm. Now they were gone, replaced by a bizarre mix of CGI placeholders with no personality and no connection to the original tale. It was official. Disney had stripped everything recognizable out of Snow White, and fans were done playing along. When the film finally hit theaters, the numbers told the story better than any critic could. Disney had reportedly spent more than $200 million on the film. Some sources say closer to $300 million after reshoots and PR delays. But the opening weekend brought in just $43 million, a catastrophic result for a brand that once couldn't miss. It was the lowest-grossing live-action remake in Disney's modern history. Theaters began pulling it after just 2 weeks. Merchandise went untouched. Fan forums were filled with memes and rants. Analysts started whispering the one word Disney fears most: bomb. This wasn't just a failed movie, it was an epic collapse. Disney tried to clean things up. They postponed the release, they toned down trailers. Zegler issued a vague apology. Sort of. She said she went too far in past interviews, but then immediately doubled down on her message in new ones. Instead of softening her tone, she defended her stance. She told talk show hosts she was simply standing by her truth.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, "Every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one." Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
But by now, it didn't matter what she meant. The audience had made up its mind. The apology didn't land. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Fans felt dismissed, critics called her arrogant, and even her defenders began to distance themselves. In trying to be modern and bold, Zegler had alienated nearly everyone. As the dust settled, insiders began asking the deeper question. Was this all Zegler's fault? Or was she just the symptom of a bigger problem? Because this wasn't the first Disney flop, and it likely wouldn't be the last. In recent years, the studio has struggled to balance modern messaging with classic storytelling. Fans don't mind change, but they want evolution, not erasure. They don't want to be told their childhood favorites are wrong. They want to see those stories treated with care, even as they're updated. Snow White didn't do that. It scolded its audience. And that's the real reason it failed. Zegler may have been the face of the disaster, but Disney's strategy, trying to cash in on nostalgia while rejecting everything that made those stories beloved, is what truly sealed the film's fate. What was supposed to be a groundbreaking reimagining of a classic turned into a cultural meltdown, one driven by arrogance, overcorrection, and a complete disconnect from the audience. Could the film have been saved with a different actress, a more faithful script? Maybe. But the deeper issue is that Disney forgot why people fell in love with Snow White in the first place. People didn't want a lecture. They wanted magic. They wanted wonder. And most of all, they wanted respect for the stories that shaped their childhoods. Instead, they got politics, CGI creatures, deleted songs, and a princess who sneered at the very idea of true love. For Disney, the message is clear. Nostalgia isn't a guaranteed payday, especially when you treat it like an outdated joke. And for Rachel Zegler, this saga is a painful reminder that even a fairy tale can become a cautionary tale if you forget who the story is really for.